So my name's Deb Katz. I'm with the Citizens Awareness Network, and what we were going to do at this point, before I give a rousing speech at the end to send you on your way up to bug the governor, is to have a short speak out. So if there's anyone who would like to come up and say something about this abominable situation for about 1 minute at a time, then we'd like to make that possible.
Honorable Governor Charles Baker, it ain't your fault that you inherited a Model T Ford Pilgrim nuclear plant. The body is rusted, the water pump bearings are shot, active water is leaking from the engine and it is overheating. The cooling system is full of holes and leaking active waste into the cooling pool. Smoke is coming out the exhaust. It's time for you to call the junk man and have this heap removed.
Hello, my name is Don Barton. I'm a resident of Mashpee, Massachusetts, and also a member of the Cape Downwinders. Just recently, the Boston Globe came out and strongly affirmed that Pilgrim Nuclear should be shut down. That was a strong move, and that followed the same message from Cape Cod Times. I had a quick reply to that editorial from the Boston Globe. I said, I want to congratulate the Boston Globe for their recent editorial. It's too risky to wait for a Pilgrim shutdown. The editorial alerted your readers to the careening operations at Pilgrim, the destabilized infrastructure, and the dismal safety record and culture. As described, the storm clouds of tangible risk have gathered. A nuclear release could absolutely devastate the East Coast and dwarf the loss of the 9/11 attack. However, your editorial failed to call for the governor as chief safety officer to petition the NRC for a closure. And to me, that was a big miss. What force has overcome Baker to lose his common sense and commitment in command his silence? Is it his naivete? Is it his energy interest supporters? Or is it just attention deficit? He is absolutely dismissive of all the rational arguments set forth in the editorial. He presumes that Pilgrim is safe. Really? He is middle of the road certain. With what is known and documented, his silence borders on abandonment. His pledge's total reliance on the NRC, a conflicted and unelected agency. The NRC's nuclear graduates, which compose the NRC, all have this groupthink that all old reactors have redemption. Senator Markey, in stark contrast, has come out and called the NRC ineffective. On the NRC failure, he notes, not one of the Fukushima Task Force recommendations were instituted. He adds, the NRC is irresponsible, inexplicable, and an abdication of the NRC's duty to protect public safety. Instead of following its top experts' safety recommendations, the NRC chose to do nothing, leaving the people who live around these vulnerable nuclear facilities without an important protection, end quote. Calls for another appointed commission will fail and not be mobilized before the next scheduled refueling this spring. Real-time, Pilgrim is cascading into sudden failure and with the record amount of emergency shutdowns. Governor Baker must be called out. Only his action will provide the momentum for early closure. Governor Baker, do your job. Governor Baker, do your job. I'm mad.
First, I'd like to thank all the people who spoke today and all the people who've worked endlessly for years for this cause. I'm Ted Thomas, a steering committee member of the Down Cape Downwinders. Governor Baker has a grand opportunity of which he could take full advantage of, or he could just let it slip by. Governor Baker could shut down Pilgrim responsibly, safely, and for the well-being of the public and the taxpayers' wallets. He could seize the moment and propel the Commonwealth into a future of clean, green, renewable energy. Governor Baker, these are the actions that make great leaders. Thank you.
Hi, I've been listening and waiting to hear the word that I think is very important here. We have an unacceptable risk, we have a large risk, we have a long-term risk, we have an unnecessary risk. Totally unnecessary for that plant not to be closed and decommissioned. It is a terrible accident waiting to happen. And why, the safety officer is obviously concerned with risks if he's forced to, but it is unnecessary. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Donna Hammers, and I moved from Cape Cod up to Vermont, and I moved into a one-room cabin off the grid. And it's not easy living without electricity and heat, but we don't need Keurig machines and electronic foot massages and everything else, all these other gadgets that are draining our system and draining our economy and draining our bodies. And Helen Caldicott spoke during the anti-nuclear movement that we're in what's called psychic numbing, that it's just so huge to even think about what's happening, that we just put on blinders. And that's what's happening. Otherwise, there'd be thousands of people here today. I now moved back from Vermont to Cape Cod, and I'm probably in that boat myself right now. I don't want to think about it, but it's so real and so scary. We need to take Vermont's lead. Vermont is the state that's going to change the world. Vermont shut down their nuclear power plant. We need to take their lead. And I'm also a musician, so I can't be here without singing a little bit of this song that you all know. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Let's hope it's the answer and not the plutonium. Let's sing it again. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. I also believe in the power of prayer. Whatever way you pray, let's put our energies to shutting it down.
I think we have our marching chant, Governor Baker shut it down, as we go up in a little after the rousing speech we're expecting. I was told to keep it personal. And I think that the most personal thing I'm feeling right now, beyond our deep roots and friends who are depending on the fishery and on our children and our love for animals and all life, is a personal thing, which I live with every day for the past 6 months. I don't know how many of you have ever lost a friend or family member to an unpredicted, unexpected accident. I have. Have any of you? And I don't know how many of you have had close calls with unpredicted, unexpected accidents where you said afterwards, oh my God. I broke my shoulder 6 months ago, and I'm so grateful, as it could have been a whole hell of a lot worse. But every day that I feel that pain, I'm a walking, living testament to the fact that accidents happen. We lived long enough, we remember horrendous worldwide impact accidents happening, like Chernobyl and Fukushima. accidents happen. And this is an accident waiting to happen. And we all know that. And we have to keep on organizing and bringing our friends with music and chant and all of the art and creativity we have to demand this shutdown. And this is a tune that you all know. It has new words, and some of you have the words. Some of you don't. But we're gonna shut down that leaky nuke down by Cape Cod Bay, down by Cape Cod Bay, down by Cape Cod Bay. We're gonna shut down that leaky nuke down by Cape Cod Bay and turn to the sun and the wind. We're gonna turn to the sun and wind, gonna turn to the sun and wind, turn to the sun and wind and tide, turn to the sun and wind, turn to the sun and wind. We're gonna turn to the sun and the wind. We're gonna protect our communities down by Cape Cod Bay, down by Cape Cod Bay, down by Cape Cod Bay. We're gonna protect our communities down by Cape Cod Bay and turn to the sun and the wind. Thank you.
I think this will be the last gentleman, and then we're almost done. We're getting tight on time.
My name is Greg Williams. I am both a Quaker and a Franciscan. The Quakers like to look at truth and integrity. The Franciscans have something they call JPIC, Justice, Peace, Integrity with Creation. And what I have to say about our governor is you need to have a little bit of integrity. In fact, you need to have a lot of integrity. And I'm here today because many years back, there was a lot of fighting around nuclear power, a thing called the Clamshell Alliance. And I was hanging out with that crew for a while. In 1979, there was a movie. It came out, people went to see it and said, oh, this is good fiction. It was called The China Syndrome. 3 days after it came out, it wasn't fiction anymore. We had 3 Mile Islands. So what we do here is important. And yes, there's not a lot of people here, and I certainly don't see a lot of my folk here, because we don't know about this going on. I got a call from a friend who said, call somebody and come. So a lot of people don't know. So you might be doing a great job on the Cape, but in Boston, we don't know. We need to know. This is not your issue. This is our issue, everyone's issue.
My name is Nina Tepper. I live on Cape Cod and help facilitate a non-binding resolution in the town of Barnstable that we all know passed, and resolutions all across Cape Cod passed in every town. And being here, I'm reminded that we're all here because of our democracy. And I look behind us and look in front of me, and we're not just a few dozen people. Each one of us literally, if not figuratively, represents thousands of people who have already said, shut this Pilgrim plant down, it is not safe. So I would like to just put my voice out, being here, that I'm not just one voice. We are not just one voice. Thank you.